The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're from. My name is Rachel Edwards. I'm the Director of Customer Success here at NoteSwift, and I am joined today by Brendan White, who is our Manager of Implementation and Support. First, we'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to learn a little bit more about Samantha. If you are here, you're looking for a solution to help you with your documentation, and I'm happy to say you're in the right place. Before I get started, just a couple of housekeeping items to review. One, this session is being recorded, and it will be emailed out following the end of the webinar. Two, all participants are on mute. Three, if you would like to ask any questions, as we're going through the session, in the GoToWebinar pane, there is a questions feature. You can type your questions in there, and at the end of the session, we'll review all questions asked. So before we get into Samantha, let me tell you a little bit about our company. NoteSwift was started by Dr. Chris Russell, who is a practicing neurologist in the Atlanta area. He created our original product because he was just tired of pointing and clicking while documenting in the EHR. Today, Dr. Russell is still an active part of the company and uses Samantha daily to complete his documentation. Samantha OnePage is seamlessly integrated into Allscripts Pro. Users can see a list of their templates from the EHR along with the contents of them in the Samantha window. Samantha also allows users to see what was entered into the patient encounter by a nurse, a medical assistant, or if you have a third-party vendor such as Phreesia. Users dictate their documentation into the Samantha window, and then Samantha intelligently parses and places that information into the EHR for you. In the demo, I'm going to dictate my documentation into the Samantha window that has previously documented information. I'm going to make changes to a previously applied template in the review of systems, apply and make changes to an exam template, dictate my assessment and plan, and then Samantha will go to work. While the words I dictate and the documentation I make on my patient may be different from yours, the process is still the same. After I'm finished with Samantha, I'll go into the EHR and show you what the finished note looks like. So, here we go. So this is our Samantha window. When I log into Samantha, I'm able to see my schedule, just as I could as if I was in the EHR. When I'm ready to document my patient, I simply click on the patient, and the summary of what's entered in that patient appears. When I'm ready to document, click under the area you're going to document first. Excuse me. So here we go. Patient comes in today with complaints of right knee pain, period. He states pain started after falling, period. Fall occurred when walking downstairs when he lost his balance, period. He has been taking ibuprofen 400 milligrams as needed with minimal relief, period. And as I stated earlier, you can see any information that was already entered into this patient's encounter. So as I scroll through to my next area, I can see that documentation. In the review of systems, there's my template already applied, but I need to make a change to it. Significant joint pain, open quote, right knee, close quote. In my physical exam, there is not a template applied, but you can see that Samantha shows that list, so you don't have to remember the name of the templates. I'm simply going to click on the template that I want Samantha to apply, and then the contents of that template are visible. So there's no guessing of what you need to change. Samantha shows you everything right there. I'll come to the end of the template and dictate my changes. Significant right pain over MCL, comma, significant limping, comma, significant obese. right knee pain, open quote. What you're seeing right now is Samantha's looking at the documentation that I dictated in my physical exam, and it's already working and documenting that information. X-ray was completed and reviewed in the office today. I'll order an MRI and see the patient back after, period, close quote. New line, tobacco use, open quote, smoking cessation counseling with the patient, period, to include ways to quit, period. Patient education was given, period, close quote. Patient education, smoking, comma, smoking cessation counseling 3 to 10 minutes for tobacco use, new line, MRI knee, comma, follow-up after study for right knee pain. So in my diagnoses and in my orders, I could continue dictating as many diagnoses as I needed, whether it's 1 or 2 like I have here, or if you've got a complicated patient that's got 10, 15, or 20. In my orders, again, I could continue to do that same thing. Now when I am finished, I'll click the review button. Samantha is taking over at this point. Samantha's looking at that documentation, looking at my narrative, looking at what's in my EHR. And then what happens is Samantha gives you any suggestions. If there's anything that she couldn't quite match exactly or needs a little bit more specification, a verification or a validation of something. So what you're seeing here is over here in the review pane, significant joint pain, and then it gives me my alternative or my suggestions. As I work through this list, you will see that the items are removed and the next one appears. I'll continue working through these, and you can see the narrative from what I dictated and then what it's found in my EHR. So it would be, if you were using this, it would be what was in your EHR. Our patient education, which one do we want to give the patient? Procedures. I said MRI knee. So which one of those do I want? Do I want an MRI knee right with contrast? Do I want it with both knees? Do I want it without, and then with? So again, you get to choose which one you want Samantha to put into your documentation in the EHR. Also here in the diagnoses, just to point out, if you wanted more specific code placed in the EHR, you can also do that right here. And then I'm going to say done. Samantha's going to ask me, am I sure that I want those changes? Yep, let's save those. The documentation for that patient encounter is completed. We completed it all in one screen. Samantha then placed that information into that encounter in the EHR. And if I was ready to document on my next patient, I just click on it and keep going. What we are going to do is I'm going to just minimize this. And let's jump right over into all scripts, and so I can show you what Samantha did. So in the reason for visit, there's that free text narrative. In the review of systems, there's the change right there. I said significant before joint pain, so Samantha clicked on that exclamation point for me. And then also added the note in. In my physical exam, remember I didn't have a template applied, so Samantha did that for me. Again, I said significant before each finding, and Samantha clicked on that exclamation point for me. So there's that limping, come on down, there's obese. And in my musculoskeletal, the pain over the right MCL. In my assessment and plan, I've got diagnoses with ICD-10 codes. So it's not just free text for your meaningful use, your MIPS, MACRA, PQRS, all of those other reporting that has to be completed these days, or just reporting internally that you do. Narrative dictated beside the diagnosis is placed into the today's impression field. And you can see my orders have come in with CPT codes. So again, for reporting or billing, those codes are placed into the assessment and plan. It's not just free text narrative. My patient education is in here in a way that you can print that out and give it to the patient, or you can send it out through their patient portal. Clicking on the history and physical screen here just to review, You can see that the note looks like I went through and I pointed and clicked and applied templates and made the changes and searched the database, or my searching a short list for my diagnosis codes and orders and typed in my today's impression. But I didn't. I dictated all on one screen. Samantha took it and did all the navigation and the pointing and clicking for me. And that is Samantha. So you can see here a quote from one of our users, Dr. Rathkoff of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology of Alaska. She was an early adopter of Samantha OnePage. She was previously using our Samantha Traditional to document her follow-up patients. She now can document all of her patients with Samantha OnePage. We'll now take questions. Again, you can submit those questions through the questions feature of the GoToWebinar pane. Just to let you know, we are offering some special pricing for registrants of this webinar. And as I send out the webinar recording, we'll include some pricing information in there as well. So Brendan, any questions that have come in?
Yeah, we do have one question. Somebody asked, do you need voice recognition for Samantha?
I'll take that one. So technically, no, you don't have to have voice recognition to complete this. Where I dictated, you could type. If you want speech recognition and you don't have it, I was using Samantha Speech in my documentation today. So Samantha can come with built-in speech. If you have Dragon, if you have M-Modal, if you have Say It, Samantha is speech agnostic and can work with those other speech engines as well.
Awesome. And then we also had a question about installing Samantha, what's the timeline and what's required, which I can actually help with because that is my specialty. So installing Samantha is much like implementing any other software on your computer, desktop, laptop. It's a Windows application, and we install with basically a software wizard. We will meet with you ahead of time to kind of go through that, make sure you have everything you need as far as microphones go. If you're using the other speech recognition, as Rachel just talked about, we'll make sure that that's all set up on the computer that we're going to be installing on. And then really, I can walk you through the process if that's desired. And we also have a self-implementation program. So if you have an IT contact or something like that that typically does your installs, they can get instructions on how to do that as well. So pretty easy, pretty standard software installation, and we'll walk you through the whole process.
Thanks. Any other questions that have come in?
Yes, there was one other about training and how long it typically takes.
I can take that one. So training, with the purchase of Samantha, you get 2 one-hour sessions. Training is completed one-on-one, so we take into account the user workflow. Sessions are, like I said, 2 one-hour sessions. We do the first one, we discuss your workflow, and then we get into training Samantha. A couple weeks later, after you've had time to use the product, we do a follow-up session to see if there are any questions or anything that you need to review. But in between those sessions, we are here. We are here if you have any questions or you need anything in between. We also have access, or you will have access, to our online e-learning to use in between or as an added resource to your one-on-one training.
That was all the questions I had for now.
Awesome. Thank you, Brendan. Again, we'd like to thank everyone for joining today, taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us and learn a little bit more about Samantha and how Samantha can help you in your documentation. Again, we will be sending this recording out to each registrant and attendee of the webinar today, along with pricing information. If you do have any questions that you would like to email, the email address has been on the screen for the last few minutes. It's redwards@noteswift.com, and that will come directly to me. Thank you all and have a great day.